Hey, this is George. I'm here to intro the footage from my recent trip up to Fredericton, New Brunswick to meet with Joel Violette of Thrawsunblat. We had this idea to record an interview, as well as a handful of acoustic songs, while huddling around a campfire in the dark. Somehow we managed to get everything set up in the dark by campfire light, and everything went more or less as planned. We mic'd up the campfire to try to pick up some of the ambiance of the outdoor setting. This comes through better in the interview, but even the songs sport the occasional crackle and pop, so I'm going to call that a success. The new Thrawsunblat album, Great Brunswick Forest, is now available on Bandcamp, so please go support Joel and pick up a copy of the album. All right, without further ado, I give you There and Back Again, a Thrawsunjourney. Hello, this is George, and I am up in Canada with Joel Violette of Thrawsunblat. How are you doing, Joel?
Good. How's it going over there, George?
Pretty good. Where are we?
We are just outside of Fredericton, New Brunswick, on a lovely fall evening. Right beside, you can hear the crackling, a campfire.
That's right. We've got a campfire mic'd up.
Like it's got a better mic than I have, I think.
Yeah.
Getting the nice treatment.
So hopefully you can hear some crackling in there. We're going for the ambient environmental noise on this episode. So before we get into this, I want to note that I was supposed to make this trip up here last year, but circumstances prevented that from happening. But I think that was probably a good thing, because coming this year makes it better, because now I get to see the namesake of your new album, Great Brunswick Forest.
Yeah, it's good timing. It's almost like I decided the release date would be 2 weeks right after George comes.
Or we decided that I would come 2 weeks before the release date. But so the new album is called Great Brunswick Forest. One of the first things that I noticed about this album when I got the promo is that the folk aspect is more in the driver's seat, while the metal aspect is more of an accent to the folk. What made you decide to set aside the black metal and make a whole album of what is essentially heavy folk music?
Cool. I think that the most important thing, for releasing an album is to do something that hasn't been done yet, and also to do something that you find interesting. And so I guess the question that I posed was, since songs like Maritime Shores and Goose River, a lot of people really like them, and I think they're pretty cool. So the question is, what if we do an entire Thrawsunblat album in that sound, like including all the things that entails, like the energy and the lyrics and the full kind of thematic treatment and that sort of thing. So what would that sound like, and what would that kind of landscape be? And so that ends up being what Great Brunswick Forest is. So you've got the folk sound in the driver's seat, but then every album needs to have the ebb and flow of different energies, especially a Thrawsunblat album. So then I guess the high energy songs are done in the same instrumentation as these kind of soft ballady acoustic songs. And so songs like Here I Am a Fortress, Here I'm a Fortress, not quite as catchy.
Here I'm in a fortress.
Have all the energy of a black metal tune, except done to acoustic instrumentation. And it was a neat puzzle to figure out because it's always a different way that the energy flows in a song, depending between acoustic instrumentation and black metal instrumentation. And so that's basically the idea, was to explore that sound and what energy could we kind of do, and how could we make a whole album, and even the themes and that sort of thing in that acoustic sound.
And it's not like this is a complete shock to Thrawsunblat fans, because as you mentioned, Maritime Shores and Goose River, it's always been an element of your music, and this is just taking that in a whole new, not a whole new direction, but to a deeper extent.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of territory that you can't explore in 2-3.5 minute songs, but that you can in 8 full songs. You kind of hit all the different kind of points on the landscape.
Yeah. So, speaking of landscape, how does this beautiful New Brunswick environment play a role in the songwriting?
Yeah. So I think that Thrawsunblat has always been a sort of, like I think I've said it before, a New Brunswickification of what kind of Scandinavian metal does for Scandinavia. Because that's kind of the stuff that I grew up on and the stuff that I really admire. It brings you over there, and it is really rooted in the landscape there. So I guess in writing music, you write what you know and you write what you like. So I guess I've been trying to do something like that as for the landscape that I know, and that's that's basically what Great Brunswick Forest is. And so I started putting together this album with the acoustic side of things. It ends up being very, I guess, rooted in woodsiness and that sort of thing. And so what do you call that album? And so it took me, quite a few, weeks of just trying out different names before I landed on one that I didn't, despise 2 days later.
Okay. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here, but one thing that particularly the other guys on the podcast have been asking me is, do you think that you'll plan to continue along these lines when next you take up writing music, or is this just sort of a one-off experiment?
Well, I think that every album has to be kind of a one-off experiment. Maybe not a one-off, but it has to, do something different. And I think with this one, the full acoustic treatment of an album, I don't think that the next album will be like this. It definitely won't. But I think that if people enjoy what it is, maybe then might do a couple more EPs in this vein, and that sort of thing. The next album will definitely go back into a different, heavier instrumentation. It'll be an exploration of a different, I guess, soundscape or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so it's been nice to do this full acoustic thing. But I think that maybe in the future it'll be nice to do a few more songs like this. But
for sure, I mean, it wouldn't be Thrawsunblat if there wasn't that aspect.
Yeah, it's true. And so it's nice to finally have done a full album with it and kind of allow so every album has a song that has a ton of energy in it generally, or a few. And so when you have acoustic songs on an album, they generally aren't that. There aren't those songs. And so here, I've had to, make those songs acoustic. And so that's been the neat part of it. I don't think I don't know. Maybe I will do another album that has the energy songs as acoustic songs.
Mm-hmm. Now, the album hasn't been released yet, so I'm sure there's still a relatively small number of people that have heard it. But has anybody, have you gotten any of the Michael from Opeth, when he stopped doing the harsh vocals? Has anybody given you any? And I can't imagine they would, because this is such a part of your sound. But was that a concern for you at all, that people were going to go, hey, where's our metal?
No, the only thing I was worried about was that people are going to say, well, you actually can't sing, so why'd you do a whole album with you singing? Go back to, making grunts and stuff.
So, well, I think you succeeded.
No, thanks. No, it was funny. One of my friends actually said to me the other day, I gave him a copy of the album, and he listened to it a few times in the car and that sort of thing. He comes over to me, he's like, well, why didn't you do any high singing? And I was like, what do you mean high singing? And he's like, well, it's just like you just sang deep the whole time. And I was like, well, I mean, look at me. I'm, 6'4" and like large. So how do you expect me to do, kind of a Bruce Dickinson thing or what? But so I pointed him in the direction of a few of the high notes on the album, and the next day he was like, okay, I see the high notes. But so
awesome. Now, even though these songs are acoustic, there are some electric guitars on there. And it's not just straight up folk. It's like a folk rock / metal with metal. Well, it's like folk with a metal spirit.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go? How did you go about blending these two styles so that the metal aspect kind of shone through, despite the folk?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that...
or did it just sort of happen?
I think it just sort of happened, really. I think that I started with tunes, and, that I thought, these are pretty good, and just kept working away at them, and then and kept iterating through them until they all had, enough kind of substance to be a full song, and enough substance to stand on their own and to have energy and that sort of thing. And I think that the process through which I got there was to just make them better every time I listened to them and every time I worked on them. And I think making them better meant, infusing new elements here and there. And I think that a lot of the elements that I know how to infuse into a song are metal elements. And so I think that the constraint of the acoustic instruments was kind of how it stayed folky, I think. Yeah.
So Matt from the podcast wanted me to ask you about the recording process. Was it? I know there was something that was unique about this from past recordings, but basically he wanted to know, was there anything interesting, was there anything good or bad about the recording process this time around?
Yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff, and there's all sorts of garbage stuff. So it was wonderful. So the nice thing was that finally we were all able to get together in the studio and hang out with Siegfried Meyer for a week. And so Ray and I took a visit there, and Ray recorded all of our drums there. And it was great to have that process of working on the songs with an instant feedback loop, because generally it's like, hey, here's an idea, and it's like, send it through email, and then the next day it's like, oh, that's pretty good, but what if we tried this? So 24-hour feedback loop, whereas instant is much better. And so so we had a great process, Ray and Siegfried and I, and it was bits that kind of were a little bit rough, that needed to be sanded down a bit, were really easy to sand down with three minds right there, just ready to kind of throw in ideas and find the best one. So that was great. The part that wasn't as because I mentioned there's some great ones and there's some not so great ones. There were lots of wasps at the studio. These huge, terrifying things. I don't know if they found their way into the lyrics at all, but they were massive, and they had these huge dangly legs, and they were, anyway.
Sort of like these spiders that are attacking us right now.
Yeah, the shed spiders. Watch out for the shed spiders.
We've already found 2 of these large spiders hanging out on our chairs, so hopefully we survive to the end.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a good process. So basically, I wrote a bunch of the tunes. I recorded all of it, all the guitars, actually, before we even hit the studio. So we were able to use all of that, the guitar, not footage, but the guitar recordings, for Ray to drum along to, and that worked nicely. Actually, I think the intro to Dark Sky Sanctuary, there's a left guitar that's playing kind of the chords and picking, and then there's a right guitar which is doing a little solo, and I think those are actually the original takes when I wrote the thing. So that it's kind of interesting to see a full completed album 2 years after having done a little demo that the parts stayed in the recording and became the recording. So there's a lot of, it's a very, very unique recording process, I think, that ended up having lots of neat kind of unique characteristics to it, such as the intro to Dark Sky Sanctuary.
Did you do much writing in the studio, or did these songs pretty much come fully formed into the studio and then just get tweaked as the recording went along?
I had 2 songs, didn't have any lyrics done yet, so I actually ended up having to record the vocals for those when I got home from the studio, which is fine, because that's what I did in every other Thrawsunblat album, was record the vocals on my own. Ray helped me sand down some lyrics to Via Canadensis in the, or was it Song of the Summit? Anyway, we had a little, kind of polished down some lyrics while recording some of the vocal takes as well. So that was nice. The particular shape that those lyrics have now wouldn't have existed were it not for the studio. But everything else was written. Just some of the vocals literally just didn't have any vocals for Fortress or Thus Spoke the Wind. Actually, Thus Spoke the Wind, I rewrote the lyrics 7 times for. 7 complete different lyrics.
Wow.
Because they either fit metrically with the music or not, and then not thematically with the album, or they fit thematically great with the album but didn't fit metrically. So it took I think it was the 7th lyric that actually is the one that we see on the album now.
Great. So did Ray's drumming style and just the fact of her being there alter the songs as they were being recorded in any way? Did they, change the color, the flavor of things?
Oh, absolutely.
Or, even just inspire you to do something differently?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's great. Ray has such great drumming ideas. I had, I sit with these songs, some of them for a couple of years, and expect them to sound a certain way, and to move a certain way. And then when Ray goes and records her parts in the studio, she'll add all these different dynamics that are very, very much add to the song and keep the same texture and keep the same atmosphere of the song, but just add a lot more complexity and tie the parts together. It's really cool. So the outro to Thus Spoke the Wind, the last 16 bars or so, is my favorite instrumental part on the entire album, because Ray has a super intricate drum groove, and it sounds so good with the guitar part that I had there, and definitely makes the part, that drum part does. And then Keegan, our fiddler, came and added a pizzicato violin or fiddle part on top of that as well, which just, so those last 16 bars are awesome, and they're all initiated by Ray's excellent drum grooves.
Yeah, if you hear about this and you're like, oh, this is folk, this is, I know what I'm getting here, don't even think that, because like you mentioned, there's a definite groove to some of these songs. So don't think that you know what it is based on the fact that it's acoustic. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. I warned you.
Hit me.
But I want to go through each of the songs on the album and just get your take on, what's it about, what made you write it, any interesting information about each of these songs. So the first song is Green Man of East Canada.
Okay. Well, what would you like to know about it, George?
Everything. First thing I want to know is, how do I get this song out of my head?
I don't know if there's an answer for that. I think listen to it enough times that you're sick of it.
Hasn't happened yet.
Oh, you're too kind. So that song is kind of, so it's a neat one to kick off the album with, because I think it talks about folkiness in general through this sort of allegory of the green man. So a green man is kind of like I guess it's like a nature spirit or whatever in a lot of different folklore traditions. And so the song is kind of about encountering, I guess, something like that, I guess. But through the song, it kind of explores like the whole idea of folkiness. Like there's there's songs that are folky, and then there's songs that aren't folky. And so what does one have that the other one doesn't have, or what does, or vice versa. And so I think it kind of talks a little bit about, I think I tried to explore the idea of folkiness in this song through whatever kind of means I could figure out. And so that's kind of what Green Man of East Canada is about. And about, like, how is there folkiness here? And, because I think that the Maritimes kind of have a, maybe a, not reputation, but maybe a little bit of a reputation for having a certain folkiness here. And kind of maritime music. So what is that? And how is it here? Like, and how do I like that? Like, and how am I making that music right now? Like, and so all these questions, I think I kind of tried to explore with this song.
This was the first, aside from the fact that it's the first song, it's the first thing that made me think of Jethro Tull.
Aha. Tell me more.
Well, I'm a big fan of Songs from the Wood, and I know we've talked about that before. Did that album, I mean, maybe that's more suited to one of the later songs, but did that, inspire you to do anything on this album?
Oh, absolutely and unequivocally. I think actually Green Man, I wrote when I first listened to Songs from the Wood. I think so. The first line, chance to meet a strange man down a Brunswick Lane, dressed in browns and a vagabond's cloak, blah, blah, blah. Timeless image from the wood. I think that was inspired by kind of like this figure that I pictured, who, as the vocalist of Songs from the Wood. Like, what would I do if I met,
He's sort of the The New Brunswick Aqualung.
Yeah. That's exactly, yeah, so good. And so that's kind of where the idea started from. Like, that's how, like, a person became the subject of that song, I think. So, yeah, no, nice catch there, George.
Thank you. So the second song, Here I Am a Fortress. First of all, the title alone is like, I got to hear this song. And this is probably one of the more unique songs to me on the album because of some of the things you do with like the vocals standing alone and like, I don't know if it's like reverb on it so that it sounds further away. But just tell me about this song.
Well, this song, yeah, there's probably, people ask you, what's your favorite song on the album? And then you say something like, well, it's like choosing between your favorite children. You can't. But like on this album, I can, because I think Here I Am a Fortress is my favorite one, because it's just so different from any other ones on the album. And I think it carries this energy that I really enjoy. And so basically what this song was a straight up Thrawsunblat tune, like Once Fire Veined, with a very heavy kind of tremolo picked, kind of a monomarth style main riff. Written, I wrote it all with heavy guitars, and then I decided, a couple years ago that this album was going to be acoustic, and then I translated the whole thing from heavy guitars to acoustic guitars. And so that big monomarth riff then happened all with acoustic guitars, tremolo picked acoustic guitars. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? And it ended up working. So it very much started as an experiment in that, and I was very pleased with it. But then I had to do vocals. And so like, how do you go from the energy that I would normally put into a song like Black Sky or Once Fire Veined, and then how do you turn that into an acoustic tune? And the very first problem was 7 seconds into the end of the song, where it goes from this really quiet, kind of clean acoustic kind of picking thing to like stopping, and then like everything busting in all at once. And normally that's in black metal, that's easy. You just do like a great big growl for like 10 seconds. Easy. Yeah. So I was like, well, what do I do here? And basically I was like, well, I have to sing. And it's like, well, what do I sing here? Like, I'm not going to, there's a lot of different things I could try. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to belt it. I'm just going to see what happens. And so that is how the start of Here I Am a Fortress began, was basically, this is what happens if you transliterate. I keep saying that word. If you translate.
It's a cool word.
Oh, jeez. Well, I'll keep saying cool words that don't mean anything, and then we'll see how this goes. So you can approximate the trajectory of the transliteration of the riff if you so if you take a black metal scream and then turn it into the whole thing into acoustic, that's what you get is the beginning of Here I Am a Fortress. So I really enjoyed how that turned out, and then the energy behind it, and the fact that I could actually perform that vocally. So so that I really quite have a soft spot for that song.
So do I. What do you mean by I Am a Fortress? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so the subject matter. So the song is actually about introversion.
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's
nice.
That's why it appeals to me so much. Anything like that where it suggests a vulnerability and you're building up these walls to protect yourself, it has an appeal.
Yeah. So the idea is here that like, so let me figure where to start here. So there's a line, oh, my allies in blood and in spirit. So basically like, my friends and family, together we roam the Burming Glades, which means like when we're together, everything's awesome. And like, you guys are great, everything's awesome, and it's great. But
like
then,
the Lego movie.
Sure.
Everything is awesome.
And then, and there's other times when you are around, people who aren't your, friends and family, for example, or just, or just in different situations where, things aren't a green glade, and you're around people who don't have the best sort of I don't know, just the best attitudes or the best kind of habits, or you know what I mean, and that kind of, you know, sometimes that kind of, you know, you kind of have to absorb some of their, you know, how they are, and you kind of notice these, you know, things that you don't like. And so the idea of the song is that, you know, around that sort of, you know, scenario, you know, I'm a fortress, you know, and that's kind
Exactly.
of, you know, and so that's kind of, you know, and trying to think of the actual words that I use to convey that, but you know, it's about being able to kind of in that fortress, you kind of are able to, you know,
You're protected.
Sure, but it's more about like, it's like, if you think of a fortress that has like a mine in it that you can kind of go in and like delve for gold and grab some, you know, some neat content and then kind of work on it and smelt it out and then have these wonderful things to,
Like Minecraft.
sure. Yeah, and so it's about my songwriting process, I think, you know, and you know, and so there's a line, it's where I gather and smelt out in the depths of my fortress. And so when we gather, you know, again, my, you know, friends and family, then I emerge and I bear for you shimmering ore. You know, and so I'm able to produce things of value to kind of share with you guys from that whole thing. So that's kind of what Fortress is about.
All right. One of the lines that, okay, so I mentioned this to you earlier today, that some of these songs just are continually stuck in my head. And I have literally woken up from sleep to have lines they're just going through my head. And one of them is from this song. And it is, I can't quite read it.
You get a headlamp there, George. You got to tilt it down.
Duh. Oh, much better. But then I rose and strong I stood against the weight I chose to carry.
Ooh.
I mean, I love that line.
Thank you.
Tell me about this line.
Well, I mean, part of it is about sort of that, you know, the will to create something that you then present to people.
There's this weight.
Yes, so, and it's, you know, and it's not good or it's bad, but it's something that you chose to do, and it's, you know, it's sort of this, you know, that everyone chooses to, you know, kind of be vulnerable that way, you know, and you know, do something creative, you know, and show it to other people and that sort of thing. And so it's this, yeah, and it's this sort of strength that you get from doing that. You know, it's strong I stood against the weight I chose to carry, you know, and it's, so you kind of gain a strength from carrying this weight that you've, you know, chosen to do. It's not like a burden that was placed on you. It's
Right.
something that you said, you know what, I want to do this, and I'm going to be stronger, and, you know, kind of, I'm going to grow from it.
Exactly. All right. This is another thing that I mentioned to you a couple days ago. You did an interview with Pop Matter, and you recently said, I think that there are answers lurking in the depths of the album that require a calm night, a bonfire, and 40 minutes of undisturbed listening before they dare to emerge. We're only at about 27 minutes, but we've got everything else, so I don't expect an answer to that, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that when you, I mean, I think that a lot of times when we're listening to music these days, it's like, hey, I like this song, I'm going to listen to it. And, oh, hey, here's another sweet song on a different album, I'm going to listen to that. Okay, sweet, there's another song, I'm going to listen to that. And a lot of times you just jump from thing to thing today. And it's a little bit more rare that you have an immersive kind of experience in one cohesive, you know, idea or one cohesive kind of atmosphere. And I think that that's one of the things I, you know, strove to do with this album, was to, you know, when you listen to this straight, does it flow well? You know, does it, you know, does it kind of have an overarching thing, you know, that it will convey to you if you know, just stay and listen to it for through its entirety. And I think it does. And also, it just sounded like a really cool thing to say.
It did. It's enigmatic.
Yes, super enigmatic, and like that's pop a little nugget like that into an interview, and I think you've done a good job.
And then you get somebody like me that comes along and makes you expand upon that.
Calls you on it.
Calls you on it. 'Cause he's unveiling the enigma.
No, it's good. No, and I think that the album is probably best consumed, 40 minutes straight in actually 30 some, in kind of the peace and quiet, and and without anything kind of distracting you, just kind of letting you kind of get drawn into it.
Excellent. Moving on to the third track, Via Canadensis. Is that how you said it?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first song to be released from the album, and when that came out on who released that?
Decibel.
Decibel. That's right. How could I forget our friends at Decibel?
Mm-hmm.
I must have streamed that song 20 times that day, just over and over and over. And first of all, perfect choice for a song to lead off with.
Oh, thank you.
Super catchy. Another one that keeps getting stuck in my head. On we go. Tell me about this one.
So, chose that one because it's the single off the album. It really is. If you had to, thanks. If you had to, pick a rockish kind of upbeat single off the album, that's 100% the one. And it's got kind of a microcosm of all the things that the album as a macrocosm have. Another enigmatic statement there. And so this one, so Via Canadensis, it literally just means the Canadian road. So it's about, the images on the highway when you're traveling across the country or traveling through New Brunswick, and when you're always traveling for a reason, right? And so the standing stones are, I guess a metaphor for, all these kind of different great things that you go to travel for, go to see a concert, and so you're going to see, some idol of yours. I've driven to Montreal or Quebec City so many times to see, some of my favorite bands, and it's always, we're riding to see these this great kind of monument, and it becomes kind of a monument in our mind after the event, and so of course every Thrawsunblat song kind of tries to have kind of not necessarily a message, but almost like sort of a kind of like, I don't know, it's always got a thing to it, and so here it's about having experienced so many of these ourselves, soon we prepare to carve out our own great things that we want to show other people, or that we want to kind of do or see, or and all these kind of things that have our mark on it a little bit. And so that's kind of what the song's about.
I noticed after we crossed the border into Canada, while trying to decipher the Canadian road signs, that some of them say via this or that. Was that taken at all from that, or is that just coincidental?
I honestly wish I knew. I can't say no. So no, it's just I don't know where I got the term. I hope that it's from something, or maybe I just did it. I know that the beaver is Castor canadensis, so I literally might have just removed beaver and put in road, and got the title. But there is actually some real Latin. Well, that is real Latin, but there is some real Latin in it. Amari usque admare.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
So that's the Canadian national motto.
Oh.
It literally means from sea to sea, but in English we translate that to from sea to shining sea.
Nice.
So it's a little bit of so it's just basically specifying where you are. It's crazy because there's literally this connected piece of tar that goes from one sea to the other sea. It's connected the whole way across, and it blows my mind. It's nuts. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, track 4, Song of the Summit.
Yeah, so this one,
Yeah.
This is
Actually,
spicy.
before we get into that, why don't we talk about what we were drinking and what you are drinking now?
Wow, this is good. Okay, so what I was drinking was
And I'm drinking as well.
the Off-Grid Ales Campfire Red. Very apropos. So it's from Harvey, New Brunswick, and it's this great brewery which runs completely off of the electricity grid and does everything without it, solar and other things. And the Campfire Red is delicious. And so George
It is.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so just finished that, and now George has been kind enough to bring a
It's a Droit Theory.
the Devil Made Me from Adroit Theory, and it is a
It's got a long.
red wine finished rye whiskey barrel aged porter with smoked serrano peppers, and it's got a bite to it. This is delicious. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the acronym for that? RWF. No, it doesn't have a word. Okay, no, worth a shot. Yeah. So yeah, have a taste there. So, Song of the Summit.
Yeah.
What does it say to you, George?
That you were on a summit and you decided to write a song. I didn't. I'd have to delve into that a little more myself. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's nice that you can take meaning from a song, having just literally just seen the lyrics without having heard the intent behind it, which is kind of cool. I like that aspect of music.
And that certainly does happen.
Mm.
I would say, Here I Am a Fortress was probably one that I did that more with than this one, though.
Not cool. Yeah, so this one, it's about sort of the value of journeys, I guess. And literally, I like that you can take really fancy sounding things and then you can boil them down into really simple sounding things. So like a journey is like, oh wow, it's this like amazing thing. But it can also literally just be walking. Just just moving from one place to another. And so literally this song's kind of about the value of just literally just walking from one place to another, and kind of the I don't know, just that sort of the value you get in kind of just that simple task that you're doing, and then nothing else is on your mind. And when you kind of, it's kind of about camping, I guess, a little bit too, and that sort of, I think what it's really about is being away from the craziness for a day or two, and kind of that space you get into, which is which just is nice and peaceful and kind of I don't know what else. It's it's just kind of almost meditative, but you're not meditating. You're just being normal. And I think that you get there's stuff that you can see in that headspace that you can't see when you're constantly answering text messages and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what it's about. But it sounds way more enigmatic.
There's not as much talk about the perils of technology as there were on the last album.
I mean, even that one is just about Metactonia is literally just about it's not about disconnecting from things. It's about what things to connect to make you kind of gain some things. But yeah, this one's kind of about, I think,
after you've disconnected.
Yeah. And so this one's kind of that place that you kind of want to be in when you're worried about. We're like, oh man, I feel so connected. I'm too frazzled out and fragmented. I want to like go somewhere and be kind of way more peaceful. I think that place is kind of where I kind of it's kind of what the Great Brunswick Forest kind of embodies.
I would have to say so in a very literal sense. After having been here for a few hours, it's an incredibly beautiful place, and I imagine it must be very relaxing when you get to just take some time off.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would say thank you, but that would imply that I had anything to do with making it.
Okay, track 5, Thus Spoke the Wind.
Oh yeah, this one. This is the one that I wrote 7 different lyrics for. I did one that had some Joseph Campbell mythology in it, which was pretty cool.
You've talked about that before?
Yeah, on Wanderer. I did another one with a different type of Campbell mythology in it. And a couple of those worked, but there just wasn't any other Campbell on the rest of the album. So And so this one ends up being about, again, I think all of these kind of really apply to that kind of, I keep calling it peaceful, but it's more than that. When you, are, out camping or just kind of in the middle of the forest or whatever, and that kind of peace that you have. I think that kind of headspace that you're in, you can find a lot of, I don't want to say you can find answers, because that's also enigmatic and kind of ridiculous. But I don't know, you just do some good thinking when you're there. And I think this song's kind of about that. It's kind of, it's I think it's about, so the chorus, ancient mist, show me now. Ancient mist, show me now. Oh, hold on, is that even the lyric? Crap. Well, anyway, there's a line, kindle the fire and dispel the thundering skies behind my brow. So it's basically about, like, I don't know, it's kind of let my kind of help me kind of sort out my thoughts or whatever, and then so I can give into this world. Let me produce something of value. Help me kind of get into a good mode here and produce something. And so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit about helping yourself get into a good headspace to, create something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also happens to be a metal song that started out as literally just super heavy with guitars, blast beats, everything, and I was going to say transliterated again, but translated to acoustic guitars, and so there's some good instrumental parts in this. If I would have had a string quartet or like a symphony or something like that, then I really could have made, I think, the middle instrumentation really pop. But Keegan does some crazy arpeggio thingies on the fiddle, and it sounds super good. So, yeah. This one's more instrumentally. This is probably the most intricate instrumentally of all the songs.
Yeah, definitely. All right, track 6 is the title track, Great Brunswick Forest. Okay, first of all, what's the song about? And I guess you maybe already covered, but why did you name the album after it?
So, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, but only you, George. Don't tell anybody.
Okay, let's turn off the mic.
Yep. Microphone's off?
Yeah, it's totally off, dude.
Totally off?
I wouldn't lie.
Okay, perfect. Okay, since the microphone's off, I'm going to tell you a secret, and that is I named the album first, and then named the song after I named the album.
Ah.
Yeah. So the song is about. I think the microphone's on still, George.
No.
The album's kind of. So it's a boat.
It's a boot.
It's a boat. No, it's a boot. It's not a boat. Sorry, it's a boat. It's not a boot. Gosh.
A boat.
Yeah, it's a sailboat. It's not a boot. Basically, the song's about. It's kind of this. I had this. You know how sometimes you'll be just thinking about something, or you'll be watching something, and this thought will just strike you that, it's that GIF where that guy's mind's exploding. And it's just like explosions going off in his mind. So I had an experience like that, and I realized that. It's actually this fact that made me think about it. So P.G. Wodehouse is like he's one of the greatest musicians of in all of the canon of English literature. Like, his stuff is just so delightful, and such a master of the language. So he was born the year Darwin died, and was writing well until the Beatles. And it's like this huge span of time that this guy, to describe his life in terms of Darwin and the Beatles is nuts. And so it's this continuum of people, but also not just of people, but also of different types of music and literature and that sort of thing. Like, I get a lot of my inspiration from a lot of Scandinavian stuff and also all sorts of other stuff. And these other things that I got my inspiration from got their inspiration from something else, who got their inspiration from something else. And it's this huge overlapping, crazy, continuum of people and of culture and of music and of literature and all these things that stretches back like so far. And so
That's pretty deep.
It's crazy. And so I would think I was kind of able to express this in this song. And so it's like about there's a line in the bridge bit where it's like a chorus of many Joels. It's shoulder to shoulder, you and I stand with all who will ever have been. And it's just like, whoa, super deep. And so the Great Brunswick Forest is kind of in this song at least. It's like a sort of metaphor for just like this this forest that kind of when one falls, another takes its place, and it's like it's sort of a symbol of humankind, I guess, and this
Passing the torch.
yeah, exactly, and passing the torch physically and also in like art and other different sorts of thing and culture and that sort of thing. So yeah, so
We are the torchbearers.
yeah, that's another little so yeah, that's a whole other little tune. But so interesting fact about this song. Do you want to know a fun fact about the song, George?
I do.
It's not.
Can I turn on the microphone for this one?
Yeah, turn it back on.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's on.
Okay.
So this song I've been performing live for 3 years, I
Okay.
think, but not as these lyrics. So I was reading a poem by Rudyard Kipling in 2011 or 2012, maybe even before that, 2009 even, and it's called A Tree Song. And I was reading it, and just music kind of just like popped off the page, like the rhythm of the words. I was just like, holy crap, this like I hear this song already. And so it's called The Tree Song, and I wrote music to the words, and so I called that song Tree Song, I guess, and performed it live with Kipling's lyrics for 3 years, and really obviously and it's the same music that's in Great Brunswick Forest here, and so, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know about copyright. So I decided to write my own lyrics to it. And so this was how the song turned out. So basically, I wrote music to a Kipling poem, and then I wrote lyrics to that music. So I don't know how. Anyway, so it's a long, kind of convoluted way to get a song, I guess. I mean, some people just sit down with a guitar and hit record. But
So the people that saw you perform this song before, they might hear it now and go, "Oh yeah, I know." Wait a minute,
Yep.
That's not the song I thought it was.
Yeah, well, there's the bit that goes, "The time in the immortal wind." It used to go, "Oak and ash and thorn." Anyway, so it's anyway, I can do both versions for you. But
Were you performing that with Oak, Ash, and Thorn?
yeah, that's where we get the name. Our bass player, we were trying to find a name, and our bass player was like, "Let's just pick that. It's great." I was like, "Well, okay, great." So yeah, it's kind of nuts because that song's like 8 or 10 years old, and finally just got onto a Thrawsunblat album, and I think this was the perfect album to put it on.
I agree. All right, track 7, "Singer of Ageless Times."
Oh, this one's. Oh, there's so many tips of the cap to Jethro Tull in this one. I guess I just preempted you, though. You were ready to say that, weren't you?
I was going to say, where did you get the song title?
Kipling poem. No. No. Yeah. Songs from the Wood was. I listened to that at a time in my life when I really needed it, and so it really stuck with me. And I actually wrote this song in like 2011, 2012, and fixed up the lyrics a little bit in the last year or two. But for all intents and purposes, it's the same song, and there's a couple nice little tips of the cap to Tull. So I debated whether or not to kind of overtly say, in the style of, Jethro Tull or whatever. Well, not in the style of, but like, special thanks to Jethro Tull for inspiration on this. But I think it's clear enough. Let me sing you songs from the Maritime.
Yeah.
And then literally, "Singer of Ageless Times" is another line from that song. Jethro Tull. That album, "Songs from the Wood," it features on that one and on Green Man, I think, pretty heavily in terms of having, the inspiration for it. Again, it's obviously it's my own spin on if someone said, "Let me sing you songs from blah," what would you like? Where would it go from there? And so then, let me sing you songs from the Maritimes. Let me tell you a little bit about this place. And so I kind of explored on that song, just like how things change a lot, and some things don't change at all. And so it's kind of that we're still driven by the same things, and we still sing the songs of people who came before us. So this is another theme that kind of goes between songs, like Singer of Ageless Times and Great Brunswick Forest both kind of talk about this kind of, I guess, passing of the torch, or also this sort of continuum of music being passed down. And so it's and it's kind of a little New Brunswick kind of not like, I don't know, it's just kind of a nice little New Brunswicky tune. Yeah.
All right. And here we are at the last song and eighth and final song of the album, Dark Sky Sanctuary. Where'd that come from?
So I was talking to this guy from Maryland a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he was talking about these things called dark sky preserves or dark sky sanctuaries.
Sounds like a smart guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
At least a handsome one.
Well, definitely handsome. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write a friggin' song about that. Since I'm from the Maritimes, I literally said friggin'. And then it happened. And I sat on it, for a year or two. I didn't even show you the demo. And then, it was because that whole idea was really, really resonated with me, because Mount Carleton would be a dark sky preserve. It actually is a dark sky preserve, and Mount Carleton is very useful because that's the top of the. From the top of Mount Carleton is the image for from Thrawsunblat 2 is from the top of Mount Carleton, and so it played a big part in Thrawsunblat 2. And Mount Carleton is the highest point in New Brunswick, and so then we have this this place that it actually turns out to be a dark sky preserve. So I was pretty fascinated by that, and and so that I kind of wrote a song around it.
Awesome. So the song begins with an instrumental passage before kicking into the rest of the song. How did you decide that was going to start it off, or just how did the two different parts come about, and how did they get stuck together?
Well, that really felt like that first part really feels like sitting around a campfire and just like in the piece that goes with it. And kind of under the stars, and just this kind of really relaxing thing, and it's a Thrawsunblat song, so like, let's hit something and let's go for it. And so then that's kind of how the second part went.
Super catchy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a. The title's like the main line. Smart man came up with that. So.
Did you know when you wrote this that it was going to close out the album? Because it feels like an album closer.
I think that I did know. As soon as it happened, I was like, you know what, that's a closer. That's 100%. It has the energy of something that just picks up at the end, smashes you, and then just kind of fades out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for going through all of the songs in depth like this. I meant to ask you before we started talking about them, so that we could talk about it with each of them, but you have an interesting way about you. I don't even know how to say it, but synesthesia?
Oh, yeah.
And I was curious, could you explain what that is real quick?
Well, as far as I know, it's sort of the mixing of two senses. So, like, when I see a word or a letter or something, then it has a color kind of associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listen to music, it kind of has colors and textures associated with it. That's kind of my particular variant of it. So there are people who have, they see a color and then smell cheese or something.
Right.
And so everyone has, I think everyone has a sort of different everybody has at least a little bit of it, I think. But I know somebody who, when they are very like energized or something like that, when they're reading words, when they're reading books, each letter has a color, and it's just like so vibrant that they can't read. Anyway, for me though, it's like listening to music. It just has textures and colors.
I meant to ask you for each song, like, well, what color is this song to you? But in the for the sake of brevity, can you do that on an album scale?
Oh, it's all greens and browns and the texture of tree bark. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So by the time people hear this, if I plan this correctly, if you're listening to this, you should be able to go out and buy the album.
Yes.
Or you could pre-order it. But I know one place you can get it is Bandcamp.
Yeah.
You can get the digital version, the CD, the cassette even.
Even a cassette.
And a T-shirt. Why a cassette?
Well, I mean, for the very simple reason that it's way cheaper than vinyl and way quicker. But I think it's
kind of a trendy thing these days.
Well, trendy's fine. Trendy's this and that. But like,
I'm not accusing you of being trendy, by the way. I just mean it's sort of a thing that's come back. And those of us that lived through cassettes the first time are shaking our heads going, what the hell? Why would anybody want these?
So I think this goes back to that same kind of conversation of like, 40 minutes of this album, in kind of one spot. And because I think that what a cassette provides is it provides you a solid, here it is in your hand, thing to associate with a sound, with a set of songs, with a feeling. And that's something that you don't get with, even no matter how great, Bandcamp and Spotify and iTunes. Actually, Bandcamp is anyway. Let me just backtrack. It's something you don't get with a Spotify playlist.
Yep.
For example, so a cassette it's a thing that you can associate with a feeling, with a sound, with an album. And I think that like for me,
and a time in this case.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so I think that the cassettes were just a quick little thing that we thought would be fun to do and try it out and see if it works. And then we've sold like a dozen already. So it's like, well, I guess there's a dozen people whose lives are made at least slightly better by the fact that we put out these cassettes. So
yeah, one of the bonuses of driving to Canada to talk to you is that I got all my pre-orders early today.
Yes, you got them all today, George.
And I got to say, the cassette is pretty sexy.
Oh, good. Glad you like it. Yeah, that we decided to do the cassette, and then I whipped up all the art, sent it over to the press the next day, and then paid for it instantly. And then about a month later, there was a box full of cassettes on my front door, and it was pretty painless.
Nice.
Yep.
So go online and order this now.
Yes, please do.
So do you think there might be a vinyl coming next year?
Oh, man, vinyl's so difficult. Vinyl's so hard because there's such a long wait, and it's just so expensive. And it's also so hard to ship. And so it's anyway, yeah, it's just difficult. I don't know. It's I'd love to have a vinyl. We'll see how, if the CD, if we sell it at the CD super quick, then yeah, we'll make a vinyl. So if you can find, I don't know, a few hundred people to buy the CD instantly.
I'm working on it.
Okay, perfect. Then we can do a vinyl.
What about Wanderer? Are you ever going to do a vinyl for that?
I'd love to. Problem with Wanderer is that it's the perfect length for 3 sides of a vinyl. And double vinyls are twice as expensive
That's right.
as single ones. And just thinking logistically. So we would probably do a best of on Wanderer.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and so it'd be, I wonder how, okay, George, if you were to not to pick yourself, well, we can do that too, that'll be question 2, but if you were to say, listen, world, we've got these 12 songs that don't fit, and we need to get it down to 40 minutes. How do we do that?
I would say do a Kickstarter and get enough money to do the whole thing.
Oh, interesting. So
I'd pay for it.
Okay.
I would. But.
Yeah, I know you would. Appreciate it.
But I don't know. You know more of the details than if somebody's backing up, just in case you didn't notice that. We're backing that question up. we'll just go through that. Yeah, but obviously you know more about that than I do, what would go into that and how prohibitive the cost would be to do a double. So
yeah, I mean, the problem too with vinyl is that it is so expensive to ship it across the ocean. So it's like, 20-ish bucks around North America.
mhm.
And with vinyl, like, you need a tracking number generally because,
Yeah.
well, you don't need one. So, I mean, we can send it across without a tracking number, and it takes. So, I mean, you could, without a tracking number and sending it the cheapest you can, it's about $22 to get to Europe, and it will take between. I'm not kidding. Between 8 and 14 weeks.
Shut up.
Yep. So apparently the way it works is that there's a container on a ship, and once it fills up, it goes.
Wow.
Or not, it's not on a ship yet, but like there's a container that once it fills up, it goes. So one time people didn't get their CDs, because I was sending Surface. They didn't get their CDs for like 3 months, and I was like,
Wow. That's some 1980s shit right there.
yeah. So I always send airmail now, and airmail with vinyl is like $35 or $40, and so it's like twice
Yeah.
the cost of the vinyl. And so I don't know, maybe
You got to consider, though, the people that buy vinyl, they're spare no expense kind of people that are like, I don't care, give me that vinyl.
yeah.
I mean, not all of them, but, they're a pretty rabid bunch.
Well, yeah, it's like it's. A
I know a
balance.
few of these junkies myself back in Maryland and Virginia.
Well, luckily they're in Virginia, so then they can,
California.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question because like I want people to get the medium that they want, but I also don't want to have to charge exorbitantly for it to make it worth our time to do it. Like it takes time to to ship all this stuff out and to
Certainly.
do all that stuff, and so I don't know. It's yeah, and I think honestly people want probably to hear more Thrawsunblat albums than they do to get a slightly better medium of this album. So I don't know. It's a funny question, but
Fair enough. I'll stop harping on it.
no, you don't have to stop harping, George. If you had a harp, I would love if you'd be playing. Actually,
Pring, pring. We have one of those sound effects on the podcast. All right. Well, to harp on something else then. I've talked to you about this before, and but I know that there's others wondering the same thing because they keep asking me this. Will you ever play these songs live, specifically outside of New Brunswick?
crap. I was about to say, well, I already have. Yeah, but, you added that nice
I know
little...
touring is complicated, especially with the members of this band.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's super busy in their own things as well, and to put together a live Thrawsunblat show, it would be intricate in order to make it worth it for A, the listener, and B, the players. So it's the scheduling is always the difficult part. I mean, I would
you could
love
do
to play. What?
Sorry, I was going to say, rather than, a full-blown tour, which would require a lot of time off and everybody's schedules aligning, you could do, do more of the huge celebrity-style select shows here and there. I know a guy in D.C. who he doesn't own, who schedules shows at the Atlas Brew Works. His name is Will. He's on the podcast. And I know he would love to set you up with a show in D.C.
Wow.
And I know someplace you could even stay in the area if you needed a place to stay.
Ooh.
Okay. if we could somehow convince you. But the point of the question was not to try to lure you to D.C., just saying,
George. I feel like I know you're the kind of guy who probably has a nice strategy. You're probably good at board games.
No, I
You
really
set up all your moves way ahead of time.
I actually asked this question because my friend Josh in Michigan is dying to see you play, and so the question is for him. I'm just mentioning the Atlas stuff because I can.
Oh, that's great. No, I think that if we were sitting there. And then all of a sudden, we got an email from Vakken that was like, Thrawsunblat, please play at Vakken. there's no way you could say no to that, right?
No, of course.
And so that's probably, I don't know, that's one way we'd play live, but I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those things that it has to be, we have to be able to prepare for it, because there's no point in us playing a Thrawsunblat show and then having it garbage. That's a good New Brunswick word for anybody who wants to learn to speak a little New Brunswick. In different places it might be gorbage or garbage, but here it's garbage. So we use that a lot as well.
All right.
No, that's garbage.
So I'd like to touch on the Fires and Mist EP as well.
Oh, sure.
Because that has come out since last you were on the podcast. Tell me about this EP. How did these songs come about?
So Thrawsunblat 3, Metalheads, is very unique in that it fills 3 sides of a vinyl perfectly, and there's no triangular vinyls, so then we had to fill the other side of 2 vinyls, the 4th side. And so when we were doing that, I was like, well, listen, I'll just record 2 acoustic versions of a couple of the songs. And so we did. And so they sat, it sat on them. It's like, let's wait till the vinyls, the company that put out the vinyls, let them kind of make back their money. And then, so then, 2 years later or so, it's, everyone kind of was ready for that to kind of be put on Bandcamp. So I just popped it on Bandcamp, and I was quite excited to have those versions up, because I really like how much they exhibit the how much is going on in those songs. A lot of times, like in Fires and also in Mist, there is a lot going on, and there's also a sort of ferocity to certain parts that might overshadow or sort of maybe cover up the complexity or the intricacy of some of the stuff. And so the nice thing about the acoustic bits is that they're at a nice kind of easy tempo that grows, but also that is able to exhibit all the different things that are happening. So it's really nice to be able to exhibit that part of it as well, and to also show people who weren't who don't buy vinyl, here's what those songs sound like.
Yeah. All right. For listeners that want to delve deeper into maritime folk music, what would you recommend to them?
Okay, excellent. So there's a splendid band from Nova Scotia who I don't think they're together anymore. I think one of the members passed away, but McGinty, McGinty, they're just stellar. Like, everything they do is just so good. And they've got some great versions of some great maritime folk songs. So they're very much straight up maritime folk. So they're from Nova Scotia. Obviously, a big one is Great Big Sea. They're from Newfoundland.
I know them.
Yep. Good. Excellent. Fun fact about Great Big Sea is one of the main folks in that band is good friends with Russell Crowe. So he was actually in Robin Hood the movie. But they're kind of the most probably famous of. So I think technically Newfoundland isn't in the Maritimes. They're only in Atlantic Canada. There's this weird Atlantic versus Maritime thing. I don't understand it. I think it's kind of crazy. So I guess they're not. I don't know, man. It's nuts. Look it up on Wikipedia. So maybe they count, or maybe they don't count. I don't know, but they count.
Close enough.
Close enough. And obviously Stan Rogers, even though he's from Ontario, but he spent most of his a lot of his summers in Nova Scotia and really grabbed the maritime vibe. Yeah. So let me try to think here. I hope there's somebody. I guarantee there's somebody that I'm missing, and that I'll wake up tomorrow morning and just like be horrified that I forgot. But I'll give you 2 good ones, and that for anybody who wants to listen. Yeah, there's some pretty good stuff there. So there's this great comic for anybody who doesn't know the Maritimes well. So there's a song called Barrett's Privateers, and it's the one that goes, "Oh, the year was 1778," and then there's a response that goes, "How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now." And everybody in the Maritimes knows it, and pretty much any time that the bar closes down, somebody will start it up, and everybody knows, at least the first 2 or 3 verses. So there's this great comic where there's they're in like a house, and there's this kind of murderer who's trying to kill somebody who's trying to hide from them. And, there are a couple of frames where the person's hiding, and then the murderer's doesn't know where they are. And then the person's like, oh my goodness, I think I finally got rid of them. Then the murderer goes, oh, the year was 1778. And the other person goes, how I wish I was. Oh, fuck.
And then they get stabbed.
Yeah, so that's how you kill a maritimer.
Awesome. Now, I'm sure Will is going to want me to ask this question. We're going to go out tomorrow, and you're going to introduce me to some of the local beers. But for those that aren't going to be along for that trip, what are some of the good beers in this area?
Troway, Grimross, Picaroons, Maybes, Greystone, Off-Grid, of course. Off-Grid.
Of course.
Eureka as well. Big Axe from Nakawik. They're incredible. So many breweries have just exploded in New Brunswick in the last 5-10 years. It's just wonderful. We have so much selection and so many great beers coming out. So it's really difficult to kind of list them all. But we've got a lot of great spots that will. So I don't know. So it's all of the different breweries also kind of join in this kind of group, and they all have taps of other breweries as well. So everybody kind of shares they all kind of share this movement, and it's great for all of them. So it's great for all of us because we have delicious beer.
Delicious beer. All right. Well, thank you for taking all this time to answer all these questions for me. I greatly appreciate it. Now, if we can make it work, Joel's going to play us some songs.
I'll see what I can do here. Yeah.
So we're gonna take a break and set that up, and we'll be back.
Great.
All right. Thanks.
So this one's called Maritime Shores. It's from Wanderer on the Continent of Saplings. There's usually fiddle. Just imagine the fiddle. I've seen this continent's ocean and all its creatures in motion, but above it all the splendor stand the briny maritimes, where the mist and the rain blast life into me, and the old white pines stand guard over the sea, stand guard over the sea. Though I have left her oft time before, oh how I long for maritime shores, and I am but one of 1,000 of lore. Oh how I long for maritime shores, oh how I long for maritime shores. Myself in the greenery and all other distant scenery, but none match the climes of the misty maritimes, and elsewhere pipes are singing and strings and drums are ringing, but none with the life of the briny maritimes, the briny maritimes. Though I have left her oft time before, oh how I long for maritime shores, and I am but one one of 1,000 of lore. Oh, how I long for maritime shores. Oh, how I long for maritime shores. All right, and this next one is Goose River from Thrawsunblat 2, Wanderer on the Continent of Saplings. And okay, campfire light, please show me where the 7th fret is. Okay, got it. Down to the bay, Claymore, Goose River Point. So haul on your mugs and growler jugs. It's a long road, but not as long as a dry road. We'll drink the ale, spin many a tale, comrades' final day. We'll pour out some beer for the one not here. Cheers, me boy, once more. Cheers once more, me boy. It's a long road and a sorrow load. Oh, oh, oh. It's a long road and a sorrow load. And cheers, me boy, once more. And cheers once more, me boy. Where could we throw the ash but the end of the path? Swirling Goose River Point, where he'll stand with the trees and run with the streams, where he once roamed and now can ever again roam. And again next year we'll feast out here, an annual march to the sea. We'll raise up a toast on the rocky coast. Cheers, me boy, once more. Cheers once more, me boy. It's a long road and a sorrow load. No, it's a long road and a sorrow load. Cheers, me boy, once more. Cheers once more, me boy. It's a long road and a sorrow load. Oh, oh, oh. It's a long road and a sorrow load. Cheers, me boy, once more. Cheers once more, me boy. It's a long road. It's a long road. It's a long road. Cheers, me boy, once more. Cheers once more, me boy. Oh, thank you. Time for the tuning.
It's cold.
What do you have left here? Okay. So this next one is going to be difficult by the campfire light, but it's called Via Canadensis from Thrawsunblat 4, Great Brunswick Forest. Flows a mare, squared mare, tethering cities so distant, and we ride to see the stones, the great standing stones. They tower like the memories and the mist they mar. On we go to the standing stones we've made. On we go to the standing stones we've yet to raise. And so stand the stones, our mare, squared mare, tethering time so distant. And as we stand in awe, we prepare to call that our own. On we go to the standing stones we've made. On we go to the standing stones we've yet to raise. On we go, anchored in the earth. On we go, make a living God for these transient times. On we go. On we go. On we go to the standing stones we've made. On we go to the standing stone. On we go to the standing stones we've made. On we go to the standing stones we've yet to raise. On we go, anchored in the earth. On we go, make a living God for these transient times. On we go.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, this next one is capo time. Thank you, George, for the spotlight there. So this next one is called Green Man of East Canada, and it's from Thrawsunblat 4, Great Brunswick Forest. Any guitarists out there? Right now I am tuned to one step down from standard with a capo on the 9th fret, which means if you're in standard, it's a capo on the 7th fret. And I'm going to start in A minor relative to that. A chance to meet a strange man down a Brunswick lane, dressed in browns and a vagabond's cloak, a timeless image from the wood. Stop, and I said to him before he passed me by, stranger to these maritime shores, spare a moment of your time. Green man of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland. Green man, singing man of your journey across the waves. Green man of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland.
not my own. I left with this changed tides to call this Brunswick kingdom home. Its shores alive with green, its cities cloaked in trees, like the halcyon of my youth, thousands of your summers past. Green land of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland. Green man, sing man of your journey across the waves. Green man of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland. Green man, sing man of your journey across the waves. I bear the emblems of the summer, and I bear its pulsing song. I carried it through winter, spread it when the snows have gone. Across the jagged seas I've traveled with the first to cross them, and kept my arms across the richness of these misted lands. Green man of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland. Green man, the singing man of your journey across the waves. Green man of East Canada, the dark shores of Northumberland. Green man, the singing man of your journey across the waves.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. And that's the end of capo time. Okay. How are we doing for time there, George?
18 minutes.
Perfect. How do you feel about throwing another log on there, Nick? Don't throw your phone on it.
I just took some great pictures of you. That would be a shame.
Whoa. Whoops. Dang it. Oh, it's the campfire. Can't see anything. Okay. All right, last tune is one that's never been played live, ever. I'm going to do an acoustic version of Once Fire Veined. fire I found. I sing to you, ye dead, above the ground. Lightning that govern you, it touches the clouds, great thunderhead. One man is at peace with his dead sister. One's fire vein was quenched to your heart, was simmered the blood. A former champion of the road I've fled. Why do you rest like the dead? The peace for which you long is but rest for the road ahead. If you've yet to wonder, why do you rest like the peace for which you long is but rest for the road ahead? Fire I've lost and fire I found, I sing to ye dead above the ground.
And you could hear the fire. Right there. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I want to slide over to your mic a little bit just to say a few things.
Okay.
Let me know if you can hear me. But I just wanted to thank you for that performance. That was amazing. To have listened to all these songs for, well, not all of them, obviously, the new ones, but some of these songs for a few years now. And to see these performed now, I would say if I wasn't already sporting goosebumps from it being cold, there would definitely be goosebumps on top of my goosebumps. That was stellar. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, George. It's a pleasure. It's wonderful to have you up here. And wonderful to be able to play these tunes for you.
Thanks for making all of this happen. And until next we talk, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, George.
There you have it. The campfire interview. The campfire songs. How incredible was that? That whole trip was such a blast. I cannot thank Joel and Nikki enough for hosting us that weekend, for putting up with my podcast garbage, for showing us around the area and allowing me to experience some of the great Canadian beers local to the area. I also got to meet some great people. Joel's friends Colin and Kat, and at long last, I finally met one of our longtime listeners, Gregory Kelly. Well met, sir. I also got my first taste of poutine, not poutine. And while I didn't end up seeing a moose, I saw plenty of signs warning me of the possibility. Thanks again to everyone who helped make that weekend happen. It was wonderful, and I hope we can do it all again. I expect by now you've beaten a path to band camp to pick up great Brunswick Forest, but if you haven't, I'm going to encourage you one more time to go do it now. All right, until next time, take it easy. Captain Crunch!